That's what it means. Zachar es asher asa lecha Amalek. That's what it means. Remember what Amalek did. We're now finishing this mimer, beautiful mimer, in Kuntras Maimorim, base Kuntrasim base of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. That's a mimer which is called Zachar es asher asa lecha Amalek, near the beginning of the book. And he explains that Amalek is not like a person with a bad personality. Amalek is a force inside of a person. In addition to being a nation which wants to destroy us, the Nazis or whatever, they want to destroy the Jews because they want to destroy God. But this is also inside of each one of us, it's also a force of chutzpah, of egotism, against Hashem. And even more, it wants to know as much as it can about God so that it can go against God. Wants to know as much as possible, and wants to know Kabbalah, wants to know this, as much as possible in order to go against God. Why? Very simply. Because knowing about God is only knowledge. And being able to go against it comes from myself. Myself, I feel. I feel myself. And God, they don't, all they feel is it's a force that they can oppose. It's a force, something against them. That's one of the big reasons why people don't want to do Judaism. Why don't they? Because they feel that God is their big enemy. They want to do what they want. And here God says this, who said that there's such a thing as a God that has a book?
Is this connected to the Yetzer Hara?
The Yetzer Hara, that's right. But the Yetzer Hara is the form that this egotism takes. It's the form that it takes. In other words, Amalek is I exist. Here I am. Right? That's me. I'm here. That I'm sure of, that I exist. And because I exist, I have the power to go against anybody. Oh, that's not bad. Well, it's not bad to go against anybody. Even to go against good things. There was a famous philosopher called Nietzsche. And that was his thing, that a person can be a warrior. No one can tell me what to do. Your ego, that is your essence. Right? That was his famous thing, that God is dead. In other words, all there is me. Don't let anything influence you. Be a warrior. Be how do you say? Trample on everything outside of you. War is the essence of man. Risking your life, taking lives. That's Amalek. That was the SS. They had a saying that we came to war to die or to kill. Made no difference. The thing is to have a connection with death, but we're doing the death. We're the one that's making it. That's Amalek. Amalek is the will, the power to kill others, to go against whatever is good. Whatever is good. In America now it takes the form of abortion, things like this. Encouraging it. And being against life, in other words. Being against life. Not wanting God to take over. I'm going to be the boss. Says the Rebbe, exactly that is the reason the Jews are in the world. To negate that feeling. To negate that feeling. To show that feeling should not be listened to. That urge to go against life, to go against what's good, it exists. It's a creation of God. And the job of the Jews is to teach everybody not to listen to that urge.
That's called the Yetzer Hara.
It's called the Yetzer Hara. It's called sometimes it's called the animal soul. It's called the angel of death.
But the angel of death just kills people.
So does the Yetzer Hara.
How does it kill you?
The Yetzer Hara, that's its goal. It kills a person little by little. It doesn't go to a person and tell him jump off a bridge. It goes to a person and says, you're going to be great. You're going to be the greatest person in the world. You'll be the biggest movie star. What about Shabbos? What about, the main thing is to be a movie star. And then when he becomes a movie star, so he feels all empty inside. Then he jumps off the building. You understand? The Yetzer Hara doesn't go to a person right away and tell him, commit suicide. It tells him, take drugs, take this, right? This feels good. This is what life is all about. And little by little, it takes all meaning out of a person's life until finally the person is like a zombie, a walking dead. I understand that there were movies very, very popular nowadays about zombies. Zombies has become a very popular topic. Oh, is it?
About 10 years. It's over, came out of Hollywood.
Right. Very, very popular. The Walking Dead. People that just were, they had no identity except they wanted to kill and they wanted to die and they wanted to eat people, whatever they wanted to do. It was very popular because people identify. That's what society has become. It's become empty of life, empty of the dynamic, letting God surprise you, being good for goodness sake, like they say, just being good because you want to be good, not for what you're going to get. So everybody's looking for success and they're looking for pleasure, and it's empty. The world is empty because you can't get success by running after it. You can't get pleasure by running after it. But that's just an outcome. That's just an outcome.
Pleasure and success has to come to you.
That's right. Very good. Has to come. You have to, by doing things that are meaningful, by doing things that are right, by doing things that are good, is then the success is meaningful. If it's not a person who had millions of dollars, you could be like, okay, Howard Hughes had billions of dollars. The guy was a maniac. He couldn't, didn't know what to do with himself. Huh? Didn't know what to do with himself. No, in the end he died. Anyway, not important. That is the war of the Jewish people all year long. But Purim is the holiday when we celebrate it, when we get power to fight against this power of Amalek. Amalek is the force inside of us and also in the force in the world that hates life. It's willing to die, no problem. Willing to kill, no problem. We saw it so clearly in just the last generation. They say that communist Russia, that Stalin killed 50 million people. They say that this, what's his name, Mao Zedong killed way over that. Way over that. There's all sorts of estimates of how many they killed, but 50 million, 20 million. Just killing, murdering people, life meant absolutely nothing. That's what it means. Remember what Amalek did to you. The Ibadu, the Klippas Amalek. If you want to fight Klippas Amalek, and you have to do it inside of yourself. That's the idea. You have to fight this Klippa of Amalek inside of yourself. Very easy to say, oh, that guy is Amalek. He drives over my car, my grass every day in the morning, right? When he goes in his car, that's Amalek. We have to destroy him, right? Everybody who doesn't agree with me is Amalek. Al Yedei Giloy Ohr Tmimim. How do you destroy Amalek? By revealing more light, by feeling more alive, by trusting more in Hashem, by doing more what Hashem wants, being positive, being dynamic, caring for others, helping the world. This is above understanding. When he learns Torah, when he does the commandments, he's not doing it for any reason. He's doing it because this is the will of Hashem. That's what happened on Purim. On Purim, the Jews were given a choice: either say that you're a Jew and you'll die, because there's a decree to kill all the Jews, or deny that you're a Jew, say you're not Jewish, and then you got no problems. So every single Jew, man, woman, children, elders, they all said, we're Jews. What did they get out of it? What did they get out of it? If they got killed, they won't be able to do any commandments in their basement or something. Why did they say? All of them said, we're Jews. We're not going to deny our Judaism. Why? The answer is it makes no sense. It's just the truth. It's like if somebody comes up to you and says, say that you've got 5 eyes in your head. If you don't, I'll kill you. So listen, I'll say what you want, but it's not true. I mean, I only have 2 eyes. That's a fact. Don't say that. You say, I have 5 eyes, or I'll put a bullet through your head.
You don't have 5 eyes unless you're a spider.
Okay, so a guy says, all right, listen, you're going to kill me. I'll say I have 5 eyes. I don't know what's wrong with you. Right? Five eyes have more than 5 eyes in it. I think. I don't know. Who knows? Flies have like many faceted eyes or something.
That's different. Because I've noticed that almost all creations have 2 eyes.
Usually. Yeah, usually they do. Yeah. Very, very rare. Some have eyes that are faceted or something, but they don't have many eyes, no. Yeah, so in other words, there's something that's the truth. That's the truth, right? Say that you're not a human being, or I'll put a bullet through your head, right? I'll say I'm not a human being, okay, if that's what makes you happy. I'm not a human being, okay, that makes you happy, right? Of course you'll do it. Okay, now say I'm not a Jew, or I'll put a bullet through your head. No. I mean, you just said you had 5 eyes, and you don't. You just said you're not a human being, and you are. So say you're not a Jew. No. Shema Yisrael. Shema again. Why? What happened? What happened? So, okay, we got one freak. We got one weirdo. Let's ask this little child. No, I'm a Jew. Let's ask this old lady. I'm a Jew. Ask this old man. I'm a Jew. Everybody says they're a Jew. Right? How do you explain it? Says that's something, that's the force that's against Amalek. An essential certainty that every Jew has that cannot be taken away from him. You can take everything away from a Jew, but you can't take that certainty away that he's a Jew. They can go against it. They can be oppose it. They can deny it. The only problem is, the big problem is if they were never educated to it. That's one way that a person can deny his Judaism if he doesn't know he's Jewish. That happened. And that's exactly what the Lubavitcher Rebbe is doing in the world, to educate people that Judaism is important. Check it out if you're Jewish or not. Find out there's people in Russia. The Rebbe said it could be that in Russia there's more Jews than any place in the world. More Jews than all the world put together. So, but the problem is that they don't know they're Jewish, and their mother didn't know she was Jewish, and the grandmother didn't know she was Jewish. They didn't know. The great-great-grandmother denied her Judaism and didn't tell her children about it. And it just happened to be that she got married to that her daughter got married to a Jew, and etc. So it comes out that a person is Jew. There could be millions and millions of people that are Jewish, and they don't even know that they're Jewish. But once they find that they're Jewish, all of a sudden something happens. Something deep happens, right? It could be at first doesn't mean anything to them. But in the end, they say, what do you mean I'm Jewish? I don't understand. I mean, because my great-great-grandmother was born in Madagascar. I'm a Madagascarian. Right? My great-great-grandmother was a carpenter or something. I'm a carpenter. What are you talking about? It's a completely different thing. Right? So my great-great-great-grandmother was a violinist. I'm a violinist. I don't understand. What connection is it what my great-grandmother was? No, great-grandmother was Jewish. That means your mother was Jewish. That means you're Jewish. I'm Jewish? Yeah, are you sure? Right? Rarely is it a person that says, who cares? What do you mean? Who says that? It has some sort of meaning. That's what happened on Purim. Suddenly he said, you're a Jew. I'm sorry. Ba'al yedei ayagia atzuma biyagias nefesh biyagias basar bo b'hasaga. This feeling that you are a Jew, this feeling that God exists, this feeling that you are connected to the creator of the universe, this is internal inside of every Jew. But it has to be brought into reality. It has to be brought into reality. A person can say, I'm a Jew, so what? Big deal. He knows that he's a Jew. I once read a interview with Trotsky. Trotsky was a Jew, one of the big leaders of the communist movement in Russia. He organized the Red Army. Genius person, mass murderer. The guy was a murderer, evil person, evil, terrible person. Of course, his idea was that he wanted to improve the whole world with communism. But who knows how many he killed?
Wait a minute. Just saying he was part of the Soviet Union.
He was part of the original communist movement and the communist revolution in the early 1900s.
Then why would he be part of the Soviet Army?
He organized it. He organized the Red Army. He was the one who organized the Red Army. Then they were the ones that fought. There were all these different factions warring in Russia for control after the Tsar fell. And he read the Red Army, the communists, and he won. Anyway, so he... Let me just finish the sentence. So he said, as far as religion, he said, I'm a total atheist, but I guess you have to say that I'm a Jew. I'm a Jewish atheist. I'm a Jewish atheist. In other words, he could not bring himself to deny his Judaism. I mean, he had absolutely no connection, not in thought, speech, and action with Judaism, nothing whatsoever. I'm sure he had no idea when Yom Kippur was, when anything was. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing. But nevertheless, and his enemies didn't let him forget that he was Jewish also. Right? Stalin, it's the Jews within us. The Jews, you can't trust the Jews. He was one of them, the founders of the Communist Party. So they can't forget they're Jewish, and the enemies can't forget they're Jewish. That's called Jewish identity. But it's not enough just to have that. Right? It's possible to have a complete Jewish identity and be a Trotsky, to be a mass murderer. Could be. It says, how do we bring this into consciousness? You have to work. Al yedei yegia atzuma, by means of tremendous effort, tremendous work, b'yegias nefesh, b'yegias basar, by means of effort of your soul and effort of your body. This is explained in the Tanya in great length. In where is it? Perak Mem Aleph Mem. I have to look and see. V'hu liyega atzmo lihitchakam haskala elokus. How can you internalize this Jewish feeling that fights against Amalek, that fights against the coldness? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It means that a person has to work very hard to understand as much as he can about God. Haskala elokus, be'inyan amok, and deep ideas about God. Asher hu lo maila mi'inyan hasaga, which is above understanding. That's learning Chassidut. Ad shaba b'hasaga, until you start to understand it. B'kli sichlo, b'kli mocho, in your mind and in your brain. In other words, God is above understanding. Yes, true, God is above understanding. But there's a lot of ideas about God that you can understand. But it takes a tremendous effort. And it means that you really have to change yourself in order to understand it. This is not the same as understanding a deep idea in mathematics or in physics or in music. It's not the same as understanding a deep idea in auto mechanics or whatever. This is all those things you can understand, and you don't have to change yourself at all. You just have to have a good mind. But the ideas about serving God and understanding God, you have to change yourself in order to understand them. You have to work on yourself in order to bring these ideas into reality. Va'inyanu, it means like this. V'hine yadu, it's known. Ha'hefresh bein bechinas chachma, and the level of bina. We talked about this before. We are now in the fifth line down. The first word on the line is lekoach. What's the difference between chachma and bina? Right, what's the Rebbe going to say now? The only weapon that we have to defeat Amalek, to defeat this feeling of chutzpah and opposition to to Hashem and His Torah and His commandments and His will, the only force we have, the weapon we have, is bringing our faith in God into understanding and revealing higher and new levels of faith. Hine, b'chol davar muskal, and anything that you can comprehend. Hari hachachma, this level of chachma is esam adavar, is the thing itself. Muskal, that you conceive a new idea. The nekudat haskala, that the point of awareness, harihu etzam haskala ta'inyan, this is the essence of the idea of the thing. That's haskala. V'hasaga, and what's called grasping this idea, hi havanata inyan, is the understanding of this topic. Shabo bariboy pratim, it comes in a lot of details, ubariboy hasborim, and a lot of explanations. I'll tell you, let's take an example. A non-Jew goes into a shul and he sees the Jewish people there praying. He says, "Oh, what a feeling I have here. This is wonderful. This is Judaism. I want to be one of the Jewish people. I want to be part of the Jewish people. Right? This is wonderful. I have a feeling I'm at home. I found my place. I'm at home." He says, "Okay, good. So what do I have to do? I'll get some of those boxes. I'll put on the boxes and get a couple strings, put on the strings, and I have to keep on my head and got to go back and forth, and I'll learn Hebrew, and that's it. You know, then I'm one of the group. You know, I have all the signs, I have all the actions. I'm part of everybody. I won't shave. I'll grow a beard, and that's it. You know, I'm in." So he says, "Okay, listen. That's very nice that you want to do these things, But you have to understand, Judaism is not so easy. First of all, a person that wants to convert, so the rabbi tells him, listen, you're going to become a Jew, it's not going to be easy. First of all, now that you're not a Jew, you can do whatever you want to. You can smoke a cigarette whenever you want to. If you're a Jew and you light a match on Shabbos, the punishment is death. True, nowadays there's no death penalty. There hasn't been any death penalties for 2,200 years, whatever, 300 years. There hasn't been death penalties. But it shows that God is really not happy with what you're doing. Can't light a match on Shabbos. So why can't I light it? What's that got to do with these beautiful, everybody's sitting with the boxes and they're all chanting and they're doing the 1,000-year-old liturgies and, this is wonderful stuff. Why in the world can't you light a match on Shabbos? Well, smoking is not healthy. That sort of makes sense. Smoking is not really, fire is destructive. You can't write letters on Shabbos also, not 2 letters. Why not? Why can't you write a letter? Because God says you can't write a letter. No, I guess that's why you can't turn on a light. Can't turn on the light on Shabbos. Why can't you do that? Right? Now, also, you can't marry whoever you want to. You can't. Why not? You find a nice lady and you fall in love. I mean, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about marrying an animal or something like that. No. You're not allowed to do it. You can't. You have to marry only a Jewish woman. And you can't marry a... There's a lot of details about... Right. Yeah. Just, a Sabbath membership. So all of a sudden, all these details in Judaism are not so simple to him. Now, it says, okay, now one second. I want to tell him another thing. This is not just a social club. The Jewish people are here because they believe in the creator of the universe. And you're supposed to love the creator. It's a commandment to love God. You have to love God. Not just to do the commandments. Doing the commandments is wonderful. But you're supposed to love God. Okay? Love God. Oh yeah, okay, no problem. I'll love God here. I'll kiss the book. What do you want me to do? He says, no, it's not a thing you sort of do. It's sort of a thing you are. You have to love God because you are a Jew and you are a creation and you are a servant of God, so you have to love him. How do you do that? You have to think about God. You have to think about it. This is not so easy. I don't maybe I'll go to the Reform synagogue. I don't think they're so difficult. Less expensive. In fact, I was there and they told me all I have to do is I don't even have to put on the boxes. I just have to come. So $50 membership and I'm in. I think I'm going to go over there. He says, no problem. You can go over there if you want to. But you should know that that's, the process that they make you, that's not really Judaism. That is called Jewish style. Right? They used to have, when I was young, they used to have kosher style corned beef. Kosher style corned beef means it's not pork and it's not horse meat. It's beef meat. But it's not really kosher. Right, who says it's kosher? Who says it's not kosher? Okay. Says the Rebbe, the essence of what Judaism is loving God and trying to understand as much as you can about God. If you can't, your mind can't understand, okay, you did the maximum, but you're supposed to try. That's supposed to be the idea. That's what he says. Bringing from Chachma into Bina. Chachma means faith, a concept, an idea. God creates everything. God creates the world. God took the Jews out of Egypt. God split the sea. God provided manna. God provides everything. Provides all food for all the creations. This is really amazing. These are concepts. These are ideas. That's what's called Chachma. Now let's understand it. How is it that God provides food for everybody? How is it that God creates? How is it that God took the Jews out of Egypt? What aspect is it of God that took them out of Egypt? 1 second. God took them out of Egypt means that God is a person. He must be like a big person. Big, powerful person. No. It's forbidden to think that. God has no form. So he's not no form, then how did he take them out of Egypt? What do you mean God spoke to Moses? God spoke to Abraham. Who spoke? He's not a human being, not a form. Who was speaking? Voices were coming out of what's going on. He says those things we don't exactly understand, but that happened. God spoke. He has teeth, he has a tongue. Right? He speaks with a southern accent, he speaks with a drawl, with a lisp. How does God speak? What is it? Does it make any sense? What does it mean? It says you can make it make sense. God created the world with his speech. That's one type of speech. Another type of speech which is deeper, is the words that come from the Torah. That's the words that God spoke to Abraham. That God spoke to Moshe. Now, this is a different understanding. This is a different way of comprehending what words are.
Once the Torah is like Hashem's words, like even if he didn't speak them, like didn't he like looking to create the Torah, look into it, and create the whole world from that?
Yes, that's right. He did. Very good. He looked in the Torah and created the world. That's what it says.
But he had to create the Torah before he created the world.
Yes, the Torah was there before the world, but the world, the purpose of the Torah, in a way, was to create the world. To create the world so that we would know what to do in the world. Right, we're talking, you're asking very good questions. These things are, what they say, what is first, the Torah or the Jewish people? So they say the Jewish people must have been first, because it says, Daber ben Israel, so it means the Jewish people were in God's mind, because they were there. But there's a lot of other things in the Torah also. It says, don't steal. So it must be that there was in the world possessions. Possessions existed before the Torah did. Because God says, don't steal other people's possessions. So there must have been possessions before God said, don't steal them. So these were in God's mind. In the mind of God. You learn Maimorim is talking about what is God's will, the essence of God's will, different levels of God's will. Ratzon muchlat, Ratzon etzem, different levels of God's will. It's very deep. The idea of the deepness is so that we can understand how infinitely nothing that we are, and how infinitely happy we should be that God is creating us, and how tremendously important we are, because God is creating us from nothing, creating us every second, brand new from nothing. So we should look at the world as being this amazing miracle, and ourselves as being a miracle. But that question is good, you're amazed. What do you do with this miracle? You're supposed to use it in order to serve God, in order to love God, in order to fear God, in order to make the world a better place. Because after all, God is not our enemy. God is our creator. He's creating the world. But he is the enemy of Amalek. And he is the enemy of our false egotism. And the only way we can get rid of this false egotism is we have to make a battle. And this battle is in our mind and in our hearts.
It's a bit complicated.
A bit complicated. But the idea is God really exists. And in order to love him, we have to understand as much as we can about him. And it's a commandment to love him.
But it doesn't say that in the Ten Commandments. It says, honor by father and mother, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit idolatry.
Right. That's right. When it says Anochi, the first word of the Ten Commandments is Anochi. Right? I.
One of them is honor by father and mother.
That's true. That's one of the commandments. But nevertheless, it says, I am God. That I, Anochi, God was giving himself to the Jewish people.
Yep.
And that was a tremendous gift.
No about Zara. It's terrible.
That's right. But in order to keep away from idolatry, one second, let me finish. In order to keep away from idolatry, you have to love God.
Isn't idolatry a vote of Zara?
Let's go. Yes. Okay, let's go. In order, you have to love God. So he says, well, how do you love God? You have to bring from faith into understanding, chachma into bina.
You never get to Das. Is Das connected to this?
You look at the third chapter of the Tanya. Das is the connector. In a way, das, dat, is not anything in itself. It only connects between chachma and bina and the emotions. What does this mean in real terms? Right? Chachma and bina. Let me explain. Chachma and bina is like, for instance, somebody gives you a check, and the check is for $1 million, right? So if you don't know what a check is, you have no idea how checks work or what a check is, you're not excited at all. Why should you be excited? So someone explains to you what a check is. You know what money is? No. You know what food is? Yeah. You ever been hungry? Yeah, sure. No. You hungry? I'm a little bit hungry now. Go into the grocery store over there, see all the food, and take the food out. Right? Okay, goes and takes the food out. All sorts of sirens are sounding. What's wrong? What did I do? You have to pay. Pay? Well, I mean, all this food. I mean, don't be so stingy. You got all this food. I mean, you can't eat all this food. I want to eat some also. You have to pay. You pay money. I didn't know such a thing. The officer says, I believe him. He didn't know anything about it. You got to pay. He says, pay with what? Look, come over, stand by the cash register. He's paying, everybody's paying money. Some people give checks. What's that? So that's a check. Oh yeah, I heard that word check before. He says check means that there's a place where there's all this money which people get, they work. And when they work, they get money. They don't have to carry this money around with them all the time. And when they work, they don't get like apples and bananas and cows and things like that you exchange, you do barter. They get money, and this money you can exchange for. They don't have to carry around the money, so they put the money in a place called a bank. Whenever they want to take the money out, so they write this thing called a check. Said, oh yeah, somebody gave me a check and it had like a 1 with a whole bunch of zeros after it. Oh yeah, how many zeros? It had like 7 zeros after it. That's $10 million. Yeah, someone gave me a check like that, $10 million. $10 million you can buy. Can I buy these apples? My friend, with $10 million, you can buy 15 stores like this. You can buy 15 stores just like this store we've got. 15 stores with all the food and everything. He says, yeah, $10 million, I can do that. Yeah, so he goes back. He says, I understand the whole thing. $10 million out of this. But he looks and he sees, thank you very much. I'm really appreciate it. Still hasn't got it in his mind, right? Says, 1 second, what's this down here? By the way, what is your name? Says, my name is Adam Smith. Says, oh, I'm sorry. This is for Mr. Adam Ith, not Smith. Myth. Adam Myth. So what? It's not yours. He says, wow, I understood the whole thing, and I understood what money is, and I was getting so excited. Somebody comes and says, 1 second, let's just wrestle away this money. Oh, look, it doesn't say Myth, it says Smith. There's an S there. It's yours. The money is yours. Wow, he's so happy. What happened? He understood what a check is. He understands what money is. He understands but it's not his name. Now, his name is not on it. As soon as he realizes his name is on it and it's his, then he's excited. That's Das. That's what Das is. Das is knowing that it's mine. It's relevant to me. So you can read the books of Chassidus to know how God creates the world, but you sit down and think, does that mean God creates me? This is really for real? God is creating me right now? No way. This is just a thing you say in a lecture. You know, an interesting thing. The God of the Jews, he creates everybody, he creates everything. Ein Kelokeinu, there's nothing like our God. Das is feeling. Internalizing, feeling, realizing. And it brings in the Tanya, it says, Ha'adam yada et chava, that the man knew his wife. And from that comes offspring. What are the offspring? Emotions. When I feel that this $10 million check is real and that it's mine, all of a sudden, what do I get? Love and fear. Wow, I want this money. Whoa, I hope nobody takes it from me. Whoa, $10 million in the middle of the street. Don't tell anybody about it. No, wow, this is really great. Who gave this to me? Right? Love. Outcomes, right. So that's the idea of hitbonanu, thinking about how valuable and precious God is. God loves me. He's creating me. He's giving me my eyes to see and my ears to hear. He's giving me my mouth. He's giving me everything that I have. This is wonderful. Right? Thinking about the creator of the universe. And that's only the lowest aspect of God that he creates me. There's higher aspects that God took us out of Egypt. He creates me for a purpose. So let's go into this. What is the antidote? What is the weapon against Amalek? Is getting excited about God. God is an idea, but it can be brought into your understanding. That if it is that this bringing God into all these details, God creates every blade of grass, God creates every cloud, God creates all the birds, bringing God into every detail, musag benekudat haskala. By means of this, you can understand better the original point that you had, how infinite God is and how he creates the world. Hagam shiodei atenyan, even though that he knows it, aval eno musag adayan, it's not grasped by hasagat enyan musag in a way that is understood. In other words, it could be that he's a religious Jew and he knows this God creates the world, but he doesn't really understand it. And because he doesn't understand it, he doesn't really feel it. He doesn't feel it. it affects his day-to-day life, but it doesn't affect his emotions. Mikol makom, Hari, hasaga hi hispashtus levad. Nevertheless, understanding, when you do understand these Kabbalistic ideas, you understand these ideas that God is creating the world. You understand the ideas that God took us out. You understand as much as you can. This is only the outside of the idea. Lochen hine ha'or, the light, the nekudas haskala, Meir has to shine. Dako te inyan, the fineness of this topic. Shezeu etzem ha'or shel haskala. This is the essential light of understanding. Okay, let me try to explain this to you. There's a big advantage of simple people over big Talmidei Chachamim, big geniuses. Why? A simple person, he accepts, we're talking about Hashem, he accepts Hashem with total simplicity. Total simplicity. In other words, he feels that I am here only as a miracle. I have no justification for my existence. God is creating me every second. I'm so thankful to God. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do, God. Anything you want. Right? So God says, okay, sit and learn Torah. Can't do it. I don't know. I tried. I can't do it. But I love God. I'll do anything. I had a friend, a good friend. I haven't seen him for a long time. He was a rabbi. He still is in Bnei Brak. His name was Rabbi Tuvius, a wonderful person. And I used to learn with him. In the mornings. And he had in his room, in his study, there were books all over. And there came this person that I used to see him on the street sometimes in Bnei Brak. He used to collect money. He and his mother, and there were all sorts of rumors and the guy was obviously not normal. And the person that was collecting money. He and his money, and they said that he had money, he had a house, whatever. Anyway, they were living on the streets. They would sleep on the streets and everything. People would give him money. So he came into this Rabbi Tuvius' house. He would come in there like every other day or something, and he would give him something to eat, and he would give him a donation. And he came in, and I said, oh, I saw that guy on the street. He said, watch this, watch this. The guy came in, the person came in, and he went around to all the books and kissed them. All the books. Kissing all the books. Kissing. Right. Tremendous devotion to God, a tremendous devotion. Didn't understand one word of any of the books. Right? But just total devotion to Hashem. If somebody would tell him jump out of the window for God, he would jump out of the window. He would just, right? So in a way, that simple enthusiasm, that's called Chachma. That's called Chachma. Because Chachma is called life also. Life. Everybody is alive. Nobody knows what it means. No one knows what it means to be alive. No one knows where your life comes from. Everyone's alive though. The same thing in Judaism. Everybody has a Jewish soul that keeps them ajay, that he's a Jew. Jewish life, right? I'm a Jew. Even Trotsky, right? I'm a Jew. But he doesn't know what it means. Doesn't know what it means. A person that connects to that, he's totally overwhelmed by his Jewish feeling. I'm a Jew, right? So he's willing to jump into the fire. Once a person starts to understand about Judaism, that enthusiasm can go away. It can go away. Let's take our example. That person from the street, that beggar from the street, he kissed all the books. The rabbi didn't have that same enthusiasm. I didn't have the same enthusiasm. I'll go every morning and I kiss all the books. This is godliness. This is pure godliness. You take things for granted after a while, right? The books are, I have a nice library. It's another one of my possessions. Right. So he says, the Rebbe, you have to have both. You have to have deep understanding. And you also have to have this tremendous enthusiasm, this chachma. You have to have both. And that's what's called the light, the point of life inside of the understanding. Sometimes it's called nukuda behechala, the point inside of the palace. Right? The king inside of the palace. He has this beautiful palace. The thing is amazing. It covers 1,000 acres, right? But without the king, the palace is not worth anything. The same thing, the presence of God, that a person feels that, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. But, says the Rebbe, you have to have both. You have to have chachma and you have to have understanding as well. Chachma and bina. And that is what will defeat Amalek, as we're going to learn, God willing, more tomorrow.